I was doing a live series based on how to buy a bit of what to look for when you're checking out an engine. Now, this Beetle had air conditioning, and obviously, it's got an extra pulley here onto the bottom crankshaft. And then you can see on the fan shroud, we've got this funky looking air duct off to the side compared to that one. And then tucked back there are the AC hoses. A lot of these old cars that had AC, keep in mind the air conditioning was never factory installed. It was always a dealer installed option. A lot of these old cars have had the AC removed. This car, as you can see here, there's no bracket to mount the compressor anymore. And if you got a keen eye, that's the heat riser on the intake manifold that apparently rusted, and somebody just blocked it off down here. This side is still on, and that's something that's really needed, especially in colder climates. It helps your manifold from icing up. Not sure yet if I'm going to swap out a different intake on this. We'll see how it goes. Most likely I probably will, but we'll see. But in any way, for it to be correct, that needs to be replaced. The other thing I was thinking too is maybe because of the AC, that's why nobody replaced it. But if you can see in here with the light, there's a block off plate in there. So we're missing a screw here. Definitely a no-no for me is the fuel filter back here, right by the coil. Typically, with the fuel filters, I put them either under the gas tank or I put them right where the fuel hose is attached coming out of the tunnel. One of the number one things that happens is the fitting in the carburetor actually pops out, sprays gas all over, starts a fire. The newer carburetors, at least most of the ones I've seen, the fitting is actually screwed into the carburetor. So you normally don't have that issue, but you really don't want the fuel filter here anyways. If you got a situation where the lines are old and brittle, that filter can pop off. And a lot of these filters don't even have barbed ends. It's just smooth and straight. So there's really nothing to keep it on there. And then you look at that and you think, wow, that's pretty dangerous. So vacuum lines here, not really sure what these guys got going on. This is a dual vacuum advanced distributor. They got one side capped off here, one side going up there. This carburetor is capped off. This did not have an original air cleaner when I got it. I stuck that one on, but we still have work to do in here. I've done nothing on this car other than the steering wheel cover, which you may have seen the video on. I've just had way too many other things going on to really do anything to it. But you guys so start seeing some videos on this car. I came back here because I was going to change out these hoses right here. We've got this one here. I like the black better because that's more original. And then also tighten the generator belt. See how loose this is? This is way too loose. You start this car up, you can hear it squealing. So I got to get back here and tighten this up. One of the things you got to be careful about when you're doing this, definitely make sure you get it tight when you reinstall it. But the shims in here, there should be 9 shims total, either on the inside and the outside, but a total of 9. You've got to have it thick enough so the belt isn't too tight, but thin enough so that it's not too loose. And when you have this off, you also want to make sure you look at the pulley itself. These pulleys have teeth, fingers like this that go in and lock into place. If this has been loose for any amount of time, what it does is it starts moving like this, and it will cut a groove into the pulley, and eventually it will fail. Another thing that fails on these too is sometimes the welded nut that's on the back side will actually come off. Has any cracks in it, you definitely want to replace it. Let's see, the light down here if you guys can see. Typically what I would do, If you're not sure how old the belt is, take it off. It's really easy. Belt off, and then give it a good twist like this, and look in these areas. Now this is one of these grooved serrated type belts, but if you look in here, typically it's a little bit of cracking in there. And being that I have no idea how old this is, I will be replacing it. This belt is the life of your engine. Got a combination of the oil and the air, because this drives a fan back there. If this breaks and you don't see the light come on in the dash, then that's why it's important to make sure you have the working lights in your speedometer. But you will blow up your engine. I unfortunately stopped to help somebody on the side of the road one time, and I opened his deck lid. There was no belt here. It had broken, and I asked him how long he was driving with the light on. He goes, until the car stopped. So of course, spare belt, but when I went to put it on, the car had no compression. Engine was cooked in there. And that's something you definitely need to watch out for. But really, that's all for tonight. Just wanted to give you guys a quick update in here. Oh yeah, something else I've got to do. I noticed when I was working under here, I replaced the spring on the deck lid. It didn't have one. And I noticed the wiring for the tag light had arced together, melted up here. So we've got to figure out what's going on. I got to cut this wire cover, pull this back, and see how far the wires have actually melted, and then replace them, splice in some new wires. This comes up in here, comes from the tag light and goes and plugs in up there. I just have it hanging like this right now, just so we don't have any problems. It's unplugged. But that's it. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys have any questions, or you want to see anything, I know it's kind of dark out, as you can see here, but of course you can make a comment in here, and I'd be happy to show you. To kind of give you a little tour of the car, but again, it's dark. It's a 73 standard Beetle. Since we're here, we might as well talk about it. 71 and later hardtop Beetles, except for Mexican Beetles later on, have this vent. We're talking about North American Beetles. This is for the flow through ventilation. Unfortunately, what happens over time is there's a seal inside here in the roof that disintegrates, and it allows moisture to get into the roof. Volkswagen put a foam soundproofing in here, and it runs all the way down here, all the way through here, and down through here, and that retains moisture. And what happens is it starts to rust. And I can pretty much say, unless you live somewhere out in a super dry state, maybe Arizona, Texas, 99% of the cars you see are going to have rust in this area, or it could be completely rusted here. That's just a fact of the matter. Even back in the 80s, when I first got into Volkswagens and I was buying cars, I purposely stayed away from all 71 and laters just because of that. Because even back then, the cars were, 10, 11, 12 years old. They were already rusting here in Florida. But that's something to pay attention to. And keep in mind, if you find one, if you see a little bit of rust, obviously there's going to be a lot more, because they're rusting from the inside out. And that can be quite an expensive repair. This is the car I was going to do the how to buy a Volkswagen series on, but it was parked in the back at the time. So here we go. Look, we got tape here. The reason why we have tape here is there's no seal for this vent window. Got the seal, came in. I'm going to be pulling this out when I get some time. Really not enough time to do it after work because it gets dark so early. And I work outside, so you can see here there's no rivet up here, which I'll replace it with like a nut and a bolt. But I'm going to take this out. I'm also going to be replacing door panels, making sure that there's a moisture barrier in there. As you can see, somebody has screwed these in instead of using clips. This car was fully restored at one time. It was painted inside and out. It was originally white. They did a pretty thorough job. I don't know how old the restoration is. I don't really have any history on it. One of the things I was pointing out on the other cars is you look at the bottom of the front A-pillars here. That's a spot they rust. This car has rust on both sides. My guess, try to get out of your way here, is when you look here, you don't really see a seam. Is it probably was rusted there before it was restored. We've got a mountain full of miscellaneous parts in here I have to go through. I've not gone through this yet. One thing I find interesting is with the AC, they actually moved the fuse box. It's kind of hard to tell because it's dark, but they shifted it up from there because it's kind of hard to access your fuses with the under dash AC unit, and move it up here. It's kind of a good idea. I wish my Mexican Beetle had that because it doesn't. We got part of another front window assembly right here. I got what's that, clutch disc, pressure plate, hubcaps. The other thing I'm working on are these pop-out windows. Whoever put these in on the car, this is not a driver's side window. Look where the latch is. This is a passenger side. You guys see how this is sitting? It can't even close. It's taped in, and they use sheet metal screws to put it in. So it's taped in just to keep the ring out. Unfortunately, this car had new floor pans put in it, but because of the windows, it got water inside. And they've got surface rust. I'll be cleaning them, I'll be treating them, and I'll be coating them. Something else that needs to be done. I did already do this window here. Took it out, fixed it so that it sits in here nice. I put the pinch welt in. There was no pinch welting in there. I put in all proper screws, everything so that it actually fits. When I did this, again, this was kind of an evening time before a storm. I did not replace the seal on it yet, so I'll be pulling this back out. For some reason too, they used the existing solid window seal behind here instead of the pinch welt, and they used some kind of crazy glue. I don't know what it is, hard white glue, and they used it everywhere, so I had to chip all that off. I have a video about that as well. But I'll be pulling this back out. I'll be putting a new seal in here and doing the other side as well. I'm also doing a little touch up inside where the window pops up. Door handles, I've got to rekey these to match the ignition. There'll be detail work that needs to be done to it. Cleaning it up, making sure mechanically it's sound. Got something wonky going on with the front end. I've not even jacked this car up to see what's going on. I have not done an oil change yet. Like I said earlier, I've been so busy with other projects that I have had no time to devote to this car. He's a clean little 73 though. You know, definitely going to be a good driver once I get everything squared away and do a tune-up, oil change. Runs a little rough right now, but it has decent power. I've driven it around the neighborhood and get her squared away. Quite a few of you watching. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I don't know if there's anything else I can really show you. Ocho, my other Beetle, I was going to pick up today, but unfortunately ran out of time. I've got this truck here and hitched. I had to do some wiring on. That's where we are. Hoping maybe in the future, if you guys are interested, I may do some more live videos where I'm actually working on the car and you can see what I'm doing. Either have a helper or put this phone on a tripod so that you can see. The neat thing about that is you get real time. So every win, every loss, you know, every challenge, you'll see it happen right then and there. If I make a mistake, you'll see it. Nothing to edit out. Just real life, real person working on a real car. But I do these videos. I started this channel really because of poor quality parts. I got tired of just getting parts that were no good, and I was frustrated. I wanted to share that with everybody so that they didn't get taken advantage of. I will tell you on my Mexican Beetle that broke down, if any of you saw the post on that, I put a brand new part on that car and it was no good. So, I contacted the company, told them about it. We're waiting to see what they want to do about it, but wasted so much time with that. But that's what we're faced with nowadays. When I started working on Volkswagens in the 80s, I was a teenager back then, and we had a great selection of parts. We had German parts, we had Brazilian parts, we had Mexican parts. They were still making them in Brazil, they were still making them in Mexico. So you could get factory VW parts still, in addition to aftermarket. Now pretty much everything is China. Oh, here's Supervisor Patches. She likes to hang out when I'm working on the cars. And if anything is open, she'll jump in the car too. But it is frustrating when you spend your hard-earned money to try to fix up your VW and the parts you get are just junk. And the sad thing is, not only are they poor quality, but they're really expensive. It didn't used to be like that. But that's where we are nowadays. And this is no longer a poor man's hobby. When I got into Volkswagens, it was because they were cheaper than anything else out there. And I'll tell you guys, when I worked at a video shop in the late 80s, get this, we sold brand new rebuild engines, not completely new, so they were new pistons, cylinders, bearings, um, rebuilt heads, use the old original engine case. We were selling for less than $400. Can you believe that? Less than $400 for an engine to put into your Volkswagen. So back in those days, I didn't care if it didn't run. I didn't care if it had an engine. It was nothing. Nowadays, if you look at what one of these new engines goes for, one of the MP engines, I think it's around $5,000. Now that's all new parts, but still, can you imagine $5,000 for a VW Beetle long block? That is crazy, crazy. But those are the times we're living in. Rebuilt engines, I'm seeing people advertise them for $2,500. Definitely has not matched inflation. But I'm gonna let you guys go, and I appreciate everybody who tuned in. Thank you so much for your support. We're gonna, do this together, and I hope the videos I have on my channel have helped you guys. If you've been watching them, if there's anything you want to see, feel free to shoot me a message. If I can show you something, I definitely will do my best and be glad to answer any questions I can. Right now in the stable, we've got a 63 Beetle, 73 Beetle, and a 97 Mexican Beetle. So those are the three Beetles I have. But over my life, I've owned probably 80 some Volkswagens, air and water cooled, almost every model, not quite every one. But it's a lot of experience, a lot of years there. Anyways, thank you all again, and have a great night or day, depending on when you're watching.